My name is Nolan Reed. I'm 34 years old, and I've spent most of my life trying to stay invisible inside a loud and ambitious family. My older siblings chased fame, money, and attention. I built a quiet career in corporate HR, enforcing rules no one ever thanks you for. Even now, married into the wealthy Locke family, I'm still treated like the outsider, the polite add-on, the lucky one who's somehow married above his ranking. I've learned to absorb insults with a calm face, even when they come from people sitting across my own dinner table. But I never imagined that the worst betrayal wouldn't happen at work or in court. It would begin at my sister's engagement party, long before the champagne settled, and long before I ordered a mass firing that changed everything. It started on a night when every smile in the room felt like a loaded weapon. Rain flicked off the Bentley's windshield as I stepped out in front of the Grand Peninsula. My tux felt too tight. Or maybe it was just the pressure. Security scanned my face like I was there to wash dishes. He hesitated. Radio crackled. Then Vanessa emerged behind me, soft heels clicking, hand brushing mine. Not affection. Correction. He's with me, she said to the guard, cool and rehearsed. Inside, marble floors gleamed like ice. Chandeliers dangled above heads full of secrets. My sister Brooke's engagement party looked like a billionaire's wedding. Everyone was overdressed. Everyone except me. Everett Locke lifted a glass of bourbon when he saw me. That fake smile. That handshake you feel in your bones, not because it's warm, but because it's crushing something small inside you. Nolan, he grinned, still doing people stuff? HR, I replied, flat. Right. Paper cuts and birthday cupcakes. You must love the thrill. Laughter around us. One drink deep, and he was already circling. We walked past Jonah Locke. He didn't speak. Just nodded, then turned to whisper to Delilah, their cousin. She laughed, glanced over her shoulder, then looked away. You ever wonder what it's like to be truly invisible? I murmured to Vanessa. She didn't answer. Just adjusted her diamond bracelet. Brooke found me near the bar. Her eyes lit up, relief flooding her face. You made it. I smiled. Wouldn't miss it. You look, she hesitated. Classic. Translation, underwhelming. Before I could respond, her fiancé tapped his glass, signaling for a toast. Everyone turned. That's when Everett raised his voice. Let's hope this union helps the Reed family climb out of retail. Laughter exploded. Not everyone joined in, but enough did to make my jaw tighten. I saw Vanessa flinch. Brooke looked like she might cry. I didn't move. You don't punch men like Everett. You outmaneuver them. A waiter approached. Young. Nervous. He slipped an envelope into my palm like it was contraband. They said, "Give this to you." Inside, a crumpled $20 bill. That kind of insult is ancient. Cold. Calculated. They were baiting me. Waiting for me to react. So I didn't. Revenge, my old mentor once told me, tastes best when served in court-approved language. I folded the bill. Vanessa was sipping her drink, avoiding my gaze. That's when my phone buzzed. Anonymous email alert, company internal. Subject, urgent complaint filing, retaliation/hostile behavior. Filed, 8:14 p.m. Location, remote, flagged for executive attention. No name. No sender ID. But it was real. I read it twice. HR protocol. My own system. A retaliation complaint. Against me. Filed from inside the hotel. My fingers clenched the glass. Someone here, not just mocking me, was trying to end me. Brooke touched my arm, her voice quiet. What's wrong? I scanned the room. Everett. Jonah. Delilah. Too many eyes on me. Too many grins that didn't reach the eyes. I need to step out. I walked away from the ballroom. Behind me, someone laughed. Behind me, someone watched. The city blinked in silence as I leaned against the glass railing outside, breathing through my teeth. Then I called my assistant. Pull every personnel file with the name lock in it, tonight. If they want war, they'll get war. 11:47 p.m. The service elevator groaned as I rode alone to the 42nd floor. One light flickered above me. The kind of silence that makes you feel like someone's watching, even when they're not supposed to be. I stepped out into corporate airspace. HR floor. My floor. Badge swipe. Click. Green light. The hallway lights flickered to life, sterile white, humming overhead like interrogation bulbs. I moved fast. No security. No chatter. Just the sound of my shoes echoing like threats I hadn't said out loud. My laptop was already waiting. My assistant had followed protocol. She always did. I typed in my login. 2-factor code. Retinal scan. No room for error when the stakes are this high. The HR dashboard opened. Files. Logs. Names. 3 Lock family employees. All under me. I clicked Everett's profile first. Access timestamp, 8:12 p.m. Access type, executive reports. IP location, hotel ballroom, internal guest network. My blood stilled. He filed that retaliation report using a hotel login on my system while toasting my sister's engagement. The same time the envelope with the $20 bill hit my hand. Coincidence doesn't hit that perfectly. I opened the other two, Jonah and Delilah. Same network access. Same time. Different report IDs. They weren't just mocking me at a party. They were staging a corporate execution. My phone buzzed. Grace Mendez, General Counsel. I answered immediately. You've been flagged, she said. Her voice was calm, which meant it was worse than she let on. 3 formal complaints. Retaliation. Workplace intimidation. From internal employees. Which employees? She didn't hesitate. All locks. I stood up too fast. Chair scraped tile. My chest tightened. They're pushing it to the board by Monday. They want you suspended pending investigation. They're building a paper trail. They've already built it. And Nolan, Vanessa's father, is copied on all 3. I didn't answer. My reflection in the office glass looked like a man cracking under cold water. You never feel the knife when it's quiet. Only when it twists. I dropped the call and opened the building security logs. IP logs confirmed it. Everett had signed into a guest device connected to our Wi-Fi. But here's the twist. His laptop MAC address was registered under a consulting ID. That ID belonged to a former contractor, Avery. My assistant. She had vouched for that device 3 months ago. No coincidences. I scanned deeper, emails routed through her login. Forwarded PDFs, performance memos that didn't exist. Timestamps showing she was active when she wasn't even in the state. She was the ghostwriter. I felt my pulse in my temples. Avery had access to my signature stamps, my internal messaging authority, and my executive access tokens. If someone wanted to frame me for hostile management behavior, they already had everything. I pulled the company-wide firewall logs. There it was. Intrusion flagged, 10:04 p.m., attempt to export employee database. Blocked. But it wasn't automated. Someone manually attempted it. From this hotel. My screen blinked. Then froze. I rebooted fast, fingers shaking, breath shallow. Black screen. Restart. Login window. Back in. But now there was something new. Private document, lock_marriage_clause.docs. I stared at it. Not HR. Not corporate. Personal. I clicked it open. Prenup language. Vanessa's name. My name. Financial clauses. Control triggers. Trigger clause: if Nolan Reed resigns or is terminated due to misconduct, all shared holdings revert to sole management of the Locke family representative. No signature date. No notary stamp. Not legal yet, but written. Written by someone who expected me to fall. Lose everything. You marry the name, you marry the game, Everett once said. I thought it was a joke. Maybe it wasn't. Behind me, I heard a knock. I turned too quickly. No one was there. Just shadows from the glass walls. Just that feeling again. That cold, slithering feeling that I wasn't alone. That someone else had eyes on my system, my office, my downfall. I pulled up the company's remote access command. Quietly typed. Freeze all accounts, Locke family, status, suspended, access, revoked. The system confirmed. Locked. Blocked. Isolated. I reached for my phone. Typed a new message to IT. Do not alert them. Keep it silent. Full trace audit begins now. Then I wrote one more thing. Just one line. Tomorrow morning, I fire every single one of them. In 24 hours, the Lockes will learn who they tried to destroy. The boardroom was quiet. Too quiet. 3 executives stared at me from behind thin-rimmed glasses. Phones buzzed silently on the table. Somewhere down the hall, the sound of a paper shredder kept running. Too long. Too loud. It was 7:56 a.m. I stood at the head of the conference table with a flash drive in one hand and a folder marked confidential in the other. Vanessa hadn't come home last night. That wasn't surprising. What was surprising was that I didn't care. Some betrayals are loud. Some are surgical. This one cut like a whisper behind my back. Begin, Grace said, snapping me out of it. Her tone wasn't soft, it was loaded. Legal bullets chambered behind every syllable. I slid the flash drive into the laptop, and the presentation bloomed on the wall. 6 screens. 6 timelines. 6 names. Jonah. Delilah. Everett. Avery. Vanessa. Me. I'm submitting a formal internal misconduct filing, I said. Effective immediately, all Locke employees are suspended pending investigation. You have authority, the COO nodded, but you'd better have evidence. I clicked play. Surveillance stills. Access logs. Device fingerprints. The crumpled $20 bill, scanned under the company safe cam. This isn't personal, I said. It's structural abuse masked as family drama. They used my marriage as leverage and my HR systems as their weapon. One of the executives scoffed. Sounds personal to me. I smiled. Cold. Everything's personal when they try to erase you. Cut scene. 8:32 a.m. Grand ballroom, rehearsal brunch. The Locke stood at the center, smiling for photographers. Vanessa wore white. Delilah adjusted her neckline. Everett shook hands like a senator campaigning on pure charm. They had no idea. I stepped into the ballroom, black suit pressed, tie knife straight. All heads turned. Brooke saw me first. She knew something was wrong. Then Jonah's face cracked. He saw Grace behind me, flanked by 2 corporate compliance officers. Whispers erupted. Everett raised his voice. What the hell is this? I didn't answer. Grace handed him the envelope. Delilah peeked. Her smile collapsed. Jonah took a step back. You're kidding. You should have picked a better IT guy, I said, voice low. What the hell is this? Everett barked louder now. Your severance, I replied, with a non-disparagement clause. Sign it, or prepare to explain your forgery charges in court. Cameras caught his expression. Priceless. Now hold on. No, I cut in. You don't get to talk anymore. One by one, the locks were escorted out. No screaming. No fighting. Just stunned silence broken by shutter clicks and gasps. Like wolves dragged from their own den. Vanessa didn't move. She just stared at me. Then she said, "You really think this makes you strong?" "No," I said. "It makes me free." Cut scene. 9:14 a.m. Back hallway. Dimly lit. My pulse was steady, but inside, my hands were shaking. Grace walked beside me. "You sure you want this out publicly?" she asked. "I want a press release." "Even the part about the prenup?" "Especially that." We stopped. I leaned against the wall, eyes closed. She added, quietly, "We pulled security footage from the hotel's server. Want to see it?" I opened my eyes. "Show me." Cut scene. Private viewing room. Footage played on a loop. Vanessa. Avery. Everett. Inside a hotel suite 3 nights ago. Late. Too intimate. They weren't talking. They were planning. On screen, Avery sliding a USB into Vanessa's laptop. Everett pacing. Angry. Vanessa nodding slowly. Then, Vanessa picking up my signed HR document. My signature. My handwriting. Only. I never signed it. I watched the clip again. Twice. 3 times. Then turned off the screen. "Send me a copy," I said. Grace hesitated. "You still want to go public?" I looked at her. My wife forged internal complaints to frame me. Her family helped. My assistant delivered the tech. They used marriage law to set up a financial trap, triggered if I resigned under scandal. I straightened my tie. They didn't just humiliate me. They tried to break me legally, financially, and professionally. Grace nodded. "So what's next?" I exhaled. Hard. Then said the words I'd waited hours to say. They don't know it yet. But in 36 hours, every lock-connected dollar will be under legal seizure. And I'm just getting started. Vanessa was waiting for me when I got home. 1:03 a.m. Penthouse lights dimmed. Curtains half-drawn. A single wine glass sweating on the marble counter. She'd been pacing. The air held it, perfume, fear, and something metallic. "You humiliated my family," she said before I spoke a word. "Your family tried to end my career. That's business." "No," I said softly, "it was sabotage." She scoffed. "You think you're the first reed they've tested? You married up. There are expectations." I let the silence stretch because truth doesn't need to be urgent, it just needs to be undeniable. "They weaponized my HR authority," I said, voice flat. "They filed complaints using my own systems. They forged signatures. They planted a digital trail to trigger a cause-based termination. The kind that voids financial protections under marital law." She looked at me then. Really looked. Her face was pale. "You knew," I said. Her jaw clenched. "I didn't forge anything." I lifted the flash drive from my pocket, placed it on the counter between us like a detonator. "Footage says otherwise." Her eyes flicked to it. "Terror, not guilt." "Avery," she whispered. I froze. She added, "Your assistant handled everything." Everett said she already had access. Avery drafted the filings. Avery built the narrative. I only reviewed. You reviewed a fraudulent complaint against your own husband. It wasn't supposed to go that far. Intent isn't the problem, I said. Execution is. She stepped toward me, voice trembling. I never wanted you fired. The plan was. I cut her off, breath sharp. You had a plan. She stopped moving. In that small pause, every marriage vow we ever said died without a sound. She sank onto the sofa, head in her hands. You don't understand the locks. My father treats loyalty like collateral. If you don't obey, he freezes you out. Everett listens to him. Jonah worships him. Delilah copies them all. You can't fight that kind of inheritance. I watched her crumble. I told myself it was survival, she whispered. Survival isn't betrayal, I said. Survival is warning me before they dig the grave. She lifted her head. I thought if they intimidated you, you'd resign quietly. They'd negotiate. We'd avoid scandal. You'd still have a career somewhere else. And who would manage my assets if I resigned? She didn't answer. But silence always confesses faster than words. Cut scene. 2:22 a.m. Corporate Tower. 42nd floor again. My office smelled like toner and late-night adrenaline. Screens glowed with audit reports. Grace appeared in the doorway, trench coat damp from the rain, expression like carved granite. You should rest, she said. In war, rest is surrender. Not everything has to be war. Everything already is. She steadied me, then exhaled. There's something you need to see. She handed me a tablet. Avery's internal chat logs. Encrypted channels. Payment records. Every message was surgical. Cash transfers. Tax-free. Delivered through a shell corporation tied to Lock Real Estate Holdings. 5-figure payments. Timestamped. Legal. Traceable. This is federal wrongdoing, Grace whispered. Wire fraud. Employment tampering. Corporate espionage. Marriage law exploitation. If you want the Locks prosecuted, the FBI would take this case in a second. My pulse studded. They paid Avery to frame me. Not just frame you, Grace corrected. To trigger a resignation under misconduct clauses. Once that happened, the marital contract would activate. Your assets would fall under a shared trust controlled by Vanessa's father until the divorce settlement. I swallowed hard. They married me to erase me. Grace nodded slowly. You're not paranoid. You're targeted. Outside, lightning cracked. The windows vibrated. I stared at the financial documents on the screen, wire transfers routing through layered accounts to hide their source. They weren't impulsive monsters. They were accountants of destruction. Cut scene. 3:07 a.m. Server room. Cold air blasting from the cooling system. Racks humming like a chorus of secrets. I initiated an encrypted archival copy of complaint filings. Forged signature templates. System access logs. Marriage trigger clause. Avery's wire transfers. Footage from the hotel suite. The drives blinked red, then green, then steady. I whispered to no one, truth doesn't need allies. It only needs time. Grace handed me another folder. What now? I asked. Lawyers will want a digital chain of custody. Printouts won't be enough. I remembered something my father said when I was 11. People don't ruin you in daylight. They ruin you when you still love them enough not to scream. The server lights dimmed for a second. Then flickered. I looked up. Grace frowned. Is that normal? No. Then the access panel beeped. Outside footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Someone entered the dark hallway. Not security. The hair on my arms rose. Grace whispered, did someone follow us? Or they were already inside. The footsteps stopped right outside the server room door. No knock. Just presence. Like a question that had teeth. A hand tested the doorknob. Not forceful. Gentle. Knowing. Grace mouthed, "Don't breathe." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. I didn't answer. The footsteps resumed. Then faded. Like someone had just inspected a vault, found it sealed, and made a mental note to return when the alarm system was sleeping. Grace exhaled shakily. "You need private security. I need truth first." Her eyes narrowed at me. "You understand what's coming, right?" "Escalation," I said. "Violent escalation," she corrected. Thunder rolled across the city like a judge's gavel. She asked, "What's your move, Nolan?" I zipped the archival drive into my briefcase, locked it, and slung the strap over my shoulder. "My move?" I said softly. "Tomorrow morning, I call the press." She stared at me. "You're going public?" "No negotiations. No warnings. No family privilege." A slow smile pulled at the corner of her mouth. "It will ruin them." I nodded. "And I'm done being quiet." I turned off the lights. The hallway outside was empty. Silent. Clean. Too clean. As if whoever inspected our security had stepped into the walls instead of exiting them. Grace followed me toward the private elevator. "We're past corporate games now," she said. "We're past family." "No," I said. "We're in open war. And war never knocks before it breaks the door." Sunlight cut into the hotel parking deck like a searchlight. Wind rattled the door of my rental car as I met Grace under the concrete beams. She wore a long coat, rain dark, tension thin. Her eyes were steady. "We strike now," I said. "No question. Just fact." She nodded once. Quiet. We moved fast. Cut scene. Emails disappeared. Servers purged. USB drive smashed. I watched each status bar flash red, then black, then 0. Every lock-linked account severed. Every fraudulent complaint quarantined. Every forged digital signature logged. We weren't just erasing evidence. We were erasing the power to use it. Later, I sat across from a bank officer, glasses sliding down his nose, face pale. On the table, paper, pens, and a corporate freeze order. I signed. Flat. Everything connected to Lock Real Estate Holdings. Frozen. Immediate. Account numbers, property deeds, fund transfers, shell corporations. Dead in water. The banker's hand shook slightly as he handed back the pen. "Mr. Reed," he said, voice soft, "this is humane. Could have gone worse." I closed my eyes. Sometimes mercy is just another word for leverage. Cut scene. 7:48 p.m. Private press room. Minimal lights. Single mic camera lens ready. I stared into the red glow, waited. Around me, Grace. A small crew. The weight of every suppressed secret waiting to break. I pressed live. My voice cut sharp through silence. "You've heard one story tonight. I'm here to tell another, the real one." Behind me, the screens flickered on. Email threads. Hotel security footage. Wire transfer logs. The marriage trigger clause. The audience wasn't polite. It was stunned. The kind of silence that smells like fear. Midstream, the door burst open. Vanessa walked in. Dressed disheveled. Makeup running. She stepped into the frame. She held a folder. Her hand shook. She laid it on the table. Her voice, tight. "They're not done yet." She opened the folder. Inside, flight manifests. Hotel invoices. Cash withdrawal vouchers. Names. Dates. A fixer's contact in Miami. She turned to the camera. My father hired someone to make this disappear. But he made one mistake. She looked at me. I'm the one who has the receipts. Distraction. Then reveal. Screens changed. New files. New evidence. Proof the hitman was paid. Proof he was supposed to destroy me and the data. The camera zoomed on Vanessa's hands, the folder, the ledger. Then back to my face. Still calm. But fire burning. Cut scene. Outside, night. Rain again. Neon leaking across wet pavement. Sirens rising in the distance. Headlines buffering. Notifications buzzing like mines. The lock scrambling. We detonated the bomb. Grace leaned in, whisper low, it's done. I exhaled. Hard. It felt like ash. Behind me, the landline rang, a shrill echo in the empty room. I picked up. Silence. Then a voice, deep, cold, distant. You destroyed the wrong people. Click. Line dead. My hand trembled once. Then clenched. I stood, walked away from the camera. No need for applause. I already won the war they started. They mocked the wrong man. Now they're just a case study in failure. Morning light seeped through the blinds. The city exhaled as dawn crept up. I sat behind the desk, the folders stacked in front of me. Silent. Still. Tray after tray of evidence, emails, wire transfer receipts, hotel footage, corporate freeze orders, prenup clauses, and witness statements. Grace stood beside me, coat still damp, eyes sharp. They'll be indicted by noon, she said. I nodded, feeling the gravity like cold metal on my ribs. Cut scene. The police arrived. Flashing lights. SUV doors slamming. Cameras clicking nonstop. Reporters at the end of the driveway, screaming for statements, lenses aimed. Everett, Jonah, Delilah, cuffed, walking out in shame. Security officers led Avery, silent, head lowered. My breath was steady. I watched them pass, one frame at a time. No mercy. No theatrics. Just justice unfolding. One of the officers glanced at me, nodded respectfully. No applause. No cheers. Just finality. Cut scene. Outside the courthouse, peak afternoon sun. Family members demanded answers. Vanessa pushed through the crowd, face pale, eyes hollow. She met me at the steps. She looked broken. I felt nothing. It was supposed to be business, she whispered. Business doesn't excuse betrayal, I said. She flinched. Good. Behind her, media vans rolled away, microphones lowered. People who once mimicked smiles now looked like vultures exposed. A girl from press corps shouted, Mr. Reed, any comment on your divorce? I turned. Cold. Calm. Justice isn't a headline, I said. It's the last line in truth. Cut scene. Late evening. My apartment. A single lamp glowing. Outside, the city lights winked like distant stars, indifferent, endless. I removed my wedding ring. I placed it on the glass coffee table. Light fractured through the band. I'd lost more than trust. I lost illusions. But I kept something else. Integrity. I walked to the window. Heat of air, scent of rain on concrete. I whispered. When you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. I stand for truth. Again, power cut. Lights flickered. Then steadied. Just like me. Cut scene. A folder arrived by courier. No markings. I opened it slowly. Inside, images of Emily, a former intern at the company, a girl the Locks had tried to bribe earlier. In many frames, she was behind the scenes at parties, watching. No involvement in complaints. No threat. Just witness. A note, thank you for saving my name. Promise, I'll remember. I exhaled. A small ember of something, maybe hope. Maybe responsibility. I closed the folder. Filed it away. Cut scene. 2 weeks later. Boardroom again. Not with rage, but reconstruction. Training sessions. New compliance policies. Integrity audits. Grace sat across from me. She offered a neutral nod. Corporate world doesn't know how to heal, she said. Then we teach it, I replied. Justice is never easy. It's messy. It's slow. But it's the only hearth that burns clean. Night. My balcony. Sky full of lights. I held a glass of whiskey, neat. No ice. No distractions. Just silence. I remembered my father's words when I was young, when you let someone else define your worth, you live half a life. Tonight, I lived whole. There was no celebration. No parade. Just quiet resolve. I looked out at the skyline, towers reaching up like claims, like challenges. I raised the glass slightly. Whispered. May we all learn that dignity isn't given. It's reclaimed. This isn't revenge. It's restoration. They mocked the wrong man. Now they're just a case study in failure.